and call the roll.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Cordova.
Here.
Mrs. Davis is absent. Mr. Heflin.
Here.
Mr. Wood. Is maybe
getting on now.
with us
He's getting on now.
in just a few minutes.
He's joining by phone.
He's joining by Zoom.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
His audio is connecting.
Okay. How are you?
I said
He
phone.
should be on.
Chris, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you turn that up?
Okay.
So roll call's complete.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Roll call's complete.
So our first item of business is minutes of the previous meeting of July 22nd.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Heflin, a second by Ms. Cordova. Any additional questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Motion carries. Next item is election of a chair and a vice chair. So let's do the chair first. Do I have any nominations for chair?
Mike Miller, I nominate you for chair. No. Oh, was I?
I'll second.
I can.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I'll withdraw my second.
Nominate.
I nominate Veronica as chair.
And I appreciate that, but honestly, this next year being president of the municipal league, I don't know how my schedule is gonna go. I
Okay.
think it'd be better if somebody else does this time, so.
We're sending my second and now I nominate Veronica Cordova as chair. Have a change of heart.
I'll second that motion. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I make a motion, we accept her by acclamation.
Will I say yes?
Second.
Second. Never heard that word.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. You are a new chair. You want to take over now or do you want to?
I'll do next meeting.
Okay. So now I'll take nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Chad Heflin.
I'll second that motion. Are there any further nominations? Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept Chad as the vice chair by acclamation.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, guys.
Motion carries. There we go.
Good job.
Next is discussion and action of revised proposed rate increases.
Good morning, board.
Good
Council,
morning.
board. I put an envelope in front of you. I'm sorry, Chris, we did not get it to you, but I can email you all the paperwork that we have.
Okay.
The first document you'll have in there is a spreadsheet that Marilyn created that shows the transfer in, the transfer out, and some of what it goes to, which will be on the next few pages. I just wanted to present some, I guess, some educational tools on why we're proposing rate increases this time. And so I do have Kevin and Christopher, solid waste, wastewater here with some of their concerns with what they've seen increase in just the last year. So if you guys have any questions for them as well, they'll be here to talk about that. They're in it every day, so they're seeing what they're having to purchase. Kevin, can you let them know the tires, the prices on tires?
Tires for our state contracts. They would jump from $162.50 to $700, and that's if you can get them. And our fuel prices have jumped. It's going to cost us about $29,000 more this year than it did last year. Because you're going from $3.30 a gallon to $4.99 a gallon. So our fuel prices are gonna be way up there.
The second document you have is a better breakdown of from solid waste to general fund transfer in, transfer out. TI is transfer in, TO is transfer out. I know you guys already know that, but I just wanted to make sure I specified that. The third document shows the wages that have been from 2002 to 2023 because they're fixing to be $13 an hour for minimum wage. And I did it for the 10 years because that's the last time we raised any of our rates. And so I just wanted to give you.
That's not true. We've raised our rates in the past 10 years.
Your solid waste you have not. And I don't think your sewer, but I do believe in 2016 you did a consumptive rate of your water.
Because we were raising water rates 3% a year up until we added the $20 surcharge to retire the bond on the new wastewater treatment plant. And that's when we suspended that. And that's only been 5 years. 4 or 5.
On the wastewater treatment plant.
When we
So
put that
that-
$20
Oh, yeah.
surcharge on, that's when we suspended the 3% per year
Okay.
increase. So. Anyway, go ahead.
So I did an inflation calculator at the time. I thought you still had your base rate at $16 from 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, $16.68 is now worth today $27.46, 64% increase. And I was able to use the inflation calculator on the website. That's the front page, and the back page is just a graph, because we know Chad likes the graphs
Likes pie charts.
and pie charts.
My second favorite though.
Any questions so far? So the next document is from the NMED Drinking Water Bureau. And I took 4 different entities out of there that was close to our population size to kind of get a comparison of where we all are with rates. Artesia, they have, I think they're at 13,000 for a population. And their base rate is at $10.02. They have 4,019 meters. And their sewer rate is at 1348 and their population is at 3,903. And then on page 4, I did Los Alamos. Their base rate is 3475 and that's for water, and sewer is at 4384. Lovington, their base rate is 2782 and their water meters are at 3,607 and their sewer is at 4727. And the only thing I did not get was if they have surcharges. That's the only thing I was not able to get information on. Socorro, their base rate's 2483 and their sewer is at 4912. And then if you look on the,
Whoa. Their sewer is at 3559.
oh, I'm sorry, I read the line over. I apologize. Their commercial's 4912, their sewer's 3559. And then if you look on page 9 of that document, it shows you an average, a minimum, and a maximum rate that is across the state. We qualify under the 1,001 to 5,000 meters because we're at 4984. And average rate is 3608 in the state, minimum is 1002, and maximum is 10354. For sewer, it's 3596 for the average, minimum's at 1348, and the maximum's at 6604. On the next document, it's a water rate proposed schedule at 12% for water, sewer, and solid waste. And then the last 3 pages of that document shows some comparisons for water, trash, and sewer of different cities in the state. And I did add Clovis on there. I know that we can't compare us to Clovis, but we do pay the tipping fees there. And Clovis has raised their tipping fees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times since we raised ours, and that was a 63% increase.
Is this the transfer in document?
Yes. We transfer about $1 million out of the enterprise funds to fund the general fund for projects. Street projects, for streets, 12% of the enterprise funds pays for wages and 14% of the enterprise funds pays for the materials.
So this form in front of us, this right here is what y'all's recommending,
Yes, and that keeps us right
in the
above,
city?
that keeps us, yes, that keeps us right
Where
above
where on the
inflation.
document is the commercial? I see industrial, but I don't see any commercial.
Commercial will be on the second page.
Sarah, I can't see any of this stuff. Is there any way someone could email it to me real quick?
She just did.
Christine just emailed it to you. You should have it any minute. Yeah. If you didn't get it, just let us know. We can resend it.
So everything's pretty close to about 12% right now, it looks like.
That's
The
pretty,
commercial says outside city limits. Is that just gonna match up with inside city limits?
yes.
They're both gonna match?
I thought I had
Or
commercial.
would that be inside city limits? Anything else would be industrial?
So right now, as it is, commercial and residential share the same rates. So that's just an outside, if they were outside the simulate.
Okay, so commercial and residential be still
They're the same rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what it's gonna say on here too?
Yes, and as you can see, anything past the 4,000, because I'm sorry, what I'm proposing is to raise the base gallons to two to 4,000.
All that.
And so I think that'll help with some water conservation efforts. And if you notice anything after 4,001 gallons, those rates go up substantial, but that also needs to be part of the water conservation efforts. So the more they're using, the more they're going to be charged.
Right.
What is an average residential user using right now?
Between 4,000 and 9,000 gallons.
So you're gonna, so right off the bat, you're gonna get hit with 12%. And then after 4,000 gallons, you're gonna get hit with 7% on top of the 12?
Yes,
And then as long as you go, every time you go up, it's gonna go up those rates over here where it says 1868, 243, 365.
yes,
And that's per 1,000 gallons, right?
that's per 1,000 gallons.
Okay,
So
thank
if you get 4,000 off the bat and you pay it'll be $18.68.
That's good.
And if you use 1,000 gallons more, you're gonna pay $2.43.
So it'd be 18 plus 2.
Mhm.
So it'd be around $20, $21.
Yeah, and then
And then if you go up again, another 1,000 or another. So it's $1,000 after that, then you're gonna go up another $2.
Yep, until you reach the 11,000 and then it'll go to the $3
So
and then,
9,000 gallons, which is your high end, which you just said on your residential,
yes,
that's gonna put them at. Calculator,
about $26.
about 26.
That's rough. That's very rough.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. $3 or $4 here or there.
Yeah.
either way.
Is residential outside the city limits not co-op water?
No, there's some that has been, they've, like the hospital has been put into the city limits, but they're technically in county annexed. I can think of that word, annexed. If they're annexed in, then they are considered outside the city limits.
They've been annexed in, they're considered.
I know it doesn't make
Well,
sense,
I
but
know. Yeah, it doesn't. Aren't they in the city
reading
limits
that
now?
wrong?
Yeah,
They've been
resident,
annexed in?
they're
Yeah, but
inside.
we've also had
They pay
outside
us
the
some
city limits on the
water.
periphery that we've allowed to tap into our water system. that
Yes,
were
sir.
And your
co-op.
sewer system, yes.
That weren't co-op.
Yeah, that weren't co-op.
Okay.
Correct.
So they might have been
Okay.
closer to us than the co-op side, so they were
mean,
able to.
Isn't red wine in it, isn't that an example?
There are
I know
few
it is for
accounts
sure
there.
for sewer. but I
They're an
don't-
example on the wastewater side.
Yeah.
We don't have any water accounts.
Yeah.
A better example would be like our pipeline coming in on the 24. Some of those trailer houses that come in on the, as you're heading out 70, they're tied into the 24.
The one
But
that we
they're
ran
not
out there
in city
toward, the
limits.
one that we ran out there toward the,
Sunland,
well, Sunland, yeah.
That was a
and-
sewer
and
line.
then beyond.
Right,
yeah.
that was sewer.
Did we
But
run a
some of
water
them also-
line
they're-
all
they're
the way
also
up-
one-
All the
they're
way
one
up
of our
to
customers
Hill?
too, off the 24.
Didn't
but
we,
they're-
didn't we run a water line all the way up the hill?
well, we got one coming back this week.
Coming back
Right,
from there.
Coming back in.
I thought we had a line out there
It comes
It's
back
coming
this
down.
way.
that feeds those houses on the east side of the highway.
Correct.
And that little RV camp. We have a water line out there.
Yeah, we have a,
So
they have a.
But that's not co-op.
They're not cool.
We have a sewer
How-
line out there too.
How many commercial do you think goes over the 101,000 gallons?
we don't have very many that go over that amount.
So they all fall probably within the 31 to 100.
That's
Or
what,
11.
I do believe that. I can
The
get,
doghouse is like 31,000 gallons, I want to say.
and I think they just got El Ranchos and it was like 28,000.
That seemed about right.
What does that laundromat use?
I'll have to ask Karen that.
We
You
don't have
know,
a clue.
I don't have that number.
I don't know that number. We're good at averages, not individuals, but I can get it for you if you want me to. Message her real quick.
I was just curious as to what, how, the amount of water that they actually use down there at the Happy Wash.
That'd be a good
I think he
baseline
uses probably more than
than most.
Or what about Soapy Springs?
Yeah, Soapy Springs would be a good one. Of course, they're gonna have all times in high.
Right.
Yeah, do like a, like a summer bill.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're
When
right.
I asked Joey about a month ago, he was 7,000. That he went and looked at his bill at El Rancho and it was 7,000 that particular month, which would have been July, maybe.
Yeah.
And you had them using 28,000?
I think we pulled their bill the other day and it was like, because Mike had said something about 7 and that didn't sound right for a commercial. So we went and pulled it. I think it was at 28,000. I want to
I
say,
don't know. That's just, he went and looked at his bill and came back and told me that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was like, that didn't sound right to me just for commercial.
Or, you know, I'd like to know these things, like the mayor said, Happy Wash, Cattle Baron. You know what yours is.
Yeah, I brought my water bill in so they could explain it to me.
wash.
The car wash.
I've asked Karen to send us that.
Yes. Hopefully both are asking her.
Mhm.
We're gonna bombard her with increase.
My account, I can pull it up.
Okay.
I mean, are we in a really big hurry to get this done?
Well, I mean, I think our biggest concern is staying solvent. You know, like he said, with the price of tires alone, that's a problem.
And when you mentioned that and you mentioned the state, buying whatever.
We have-
to buy them from them.
Yes, we have to do state contract. We have our CPO here to tell you that.
We have to
But
buy a
yes,
state contract?
we have-
Can't we bid it out locally? As long as we get bids?
if we get bids.
I
That's the-
mean, remind me what our policy is for purchasing. I mean, you know, we used to have like a minimum that we've got 3 telephone quotes, then we get written quotes, and then we actually went out for bid.
Anything over 5,000 requires 2 verbal quotes to 20. Anything over 20, it has to be rewritten
Mhm.
if we can get them. Sometimes we only get 2.
Yeah, I understand
Written
that.
quotes, anything over 60, then we did a bid or formal RFP, but this is a good, so we would do an ITB. If we go off of state purchasing, cooperatives, any of that, they've already done the procurement, the prices are already set. But typically, if we use a cooperative, we still will get quotes from a couple of vendors that are on a cooperative, just to make sure we're getting the best deal, because they might quote it a few dollars different, depending on the cooperative.
And I mean, on deals like. Okay, I mean, do we buy tires in bulk? Do we buy like
100 of them.
100?
I don't think we buy them that big.
No.
You buy them for a couple of
Yeah,
trucks. if you need
the
it.
most I'll buy is 8 at a time.
And then where do you have them mounted?
Seeing this,
Do we don't buy the tires from CNS or do we buy the tires?
no. I'll buy some tires from, excuse me, Forest, and we'll stockpile them out at the hangar. And
Buy 'em from
whenever we
Forest?
Need them, we'll have CNS put them on.
But Forest is the one on the state contract?
Yeah.
So,
That, I mean, this is off subject, but I know it's simple to go with the state contract, but we got to try to support our local businesses. 'Cause
well, like when you're getting bids for tires or mechanics and all that, and we're asking each company to give us 3 bids every time we do something. They stop giving us bids. They don't want to give us those quotes anymore because they know we're trying to get the lowest price. So the state contract, CS, that streamlines it a little more.
Understand that.
Soapy Springs used in July 65,236 gallons of water. Last year, they used 65,083 gallons of water.
So they're still not at the $100,000. That would be my,
Did you get Happy Wash yet?
No, she didn't send that one yet. She just sent Soapy Springs.
Making sense.
I mean, I understand if they don't want to bid it, but
And then the other problem we have right now, and I hope that changes soon, is, we want to streamline this as quick as possible to get it. I mean, like he said, if we can even get the tires at that price, if we can even get them at all.
Are they in stock at CNS or do they have to order as well?
I'm not sure. They ordered
they
two.
order. You know where we're coming at with this.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I absolutely am
mean-
all in favor of supporting our local businesses.
It just burns me that,
Can you change that up there, Mr. President?
you know,
Something to look at.
well, no, it just burns me that we go to these local businesses and ask them to contribute to whatever we're asking them to contribute to, and then we go somewhere else to buy our stuff.
Yeah.
And, we depend on the grocery receipts tax. I know we don't pay it, but,
No, but we do depend on it. And if we could keep it here, they know I'd rather buy here too, but sometimes the state ties our hands in what we can do.
We did all of our flat repairs at CNS.
Yes. And any big jobs we can do,
what are we gonna do in CNS? Because you don't buy your tires from us, we're not gonna mount it. What are we gonna do then? It's kind of like getting your shoes fixed at Buzz's. If you don't buy your shoes at
That's
Buzz's,
the
you ain't gonna
problem
fix
that I
it.
see with us doing away with our mechanic shop.
Yeah.
I know we're trying to build it back up.
yeah.
We ran off all our mechanics and
Well,
those are the guys that could fix flats and fix, I would hope they could have, I don't know. They used to could.
Yep.
Anyway, building that back up, I hope.
so Sarah, I had asked that we see a comparison of 4, 8, and 12.
She can pull up the spreadsheet and we can, put those in there. I did give it to council. I just didn't bring it today. I didn't want to print that much. But we can pull it up and plug in those numbers. Can you pull up
Chris,
the
did you get your email?
water rates, schedules and fees? This one?
Yeah, I got it. I'm looking through it right now.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, if you could
Thank you.
go to the water one. And can you, where it says 12, can you plug in 4?
Right here?
Yep.
So let me ask a question while she's doing this.
Yes, sir.
Right now, the minimum is 2,000 gallons.
Yep.
Okay. And what does it cost me for 2,000 gallons?
$16.68.
Whether it's 4 right now and whether it's 4, that's constant, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My hope is raising it 4,000 gallons. If somebody's using 5 or 6,
Right.
they're gonna try to only use 4 to only pay the base rate. That's my hope in water conservation.
so they never get to the 5 and 6.
How
Hoping not.
how many, and I've talked to you about this also. How many of our customers use less than 2?
I hadn't gotten that from Karen yet, but I can re-ask her for that. The problem with it is that if we are taking that into consideration, I don't know that Encode's gonna allow us to bill that way. And I think that's where our hangup is with billing. We have to set our base rate and we have to stay at our base rate
Are you talking to give them a discount because they're conserving?
because they're water
Well,
conserving.
I'm thinking about, I'm going back and thinking about my mom back in the day.
Yeah.
I bet she didn't use 2,000 gallons and, she's struggling to pay for everything else. Increasing it to 4 and raising the rate doesn't help those people. That through also. So how many of them did we do that with? I don't.
But even at 4, they're only being raised, what, $2 and something cents?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a raise, don't get me wrong, anything more than that, but
So at 4, can you kind of expand that just a little bit? Christine?
Happy Wash used last month, July, 7,580 gallons. And the year before they used 7,445.
So they're around 7,500.
Yes.
That's,
That ain't
yeah.
much. I know what I expected.
So really,
To what he was
so
talking about
the
the
car
other day.
washes are the really baseline, probably for us
That's what
right
he
now.
was talking about.
Maybe cattle bearing, but I don't even think then, but neither here nor there. Go ahead, Mike, sorry.
no, I was just looking, okay, so 4% raises it,
Dollar?
well, yeah, almost $1.
Which sheet are you guys looking at?
Have you shared your screen, Christine?
Yes.
What she's got on the screen, Chris? I think
All I'm seeing is you guys.
Go to the.
she's sharing her screen. We're looking at the difference between 4, 8, and 12 and what the increase is. 4% versus an 8% versus a 12%.
So 4 is
4 is
1735.
raises it,
68 would be 32 cents plus 35 cents
Yeah.
is 60.
67,
72
67.
cents.
16 and 68.
I'm just thinking. So,
Can you plug in 8 real quick?
Right here. Yep.
okay, so 4 is a 67% increase or 67 cents. Now we got 8, it goes to what, 1801?
32, $1.32, $1.33.
Difference between now. 1668, 1801.
I'm, me personally, I can't bite on 12. I just can't. Yeah, it's only $2, but it's $2. It's actually $4. Right? Water sewer. Is that right?
Yep.
So that's
That's an overall $4 increase.
$1.33 times 2, that's 266 increase at 8% for our base, for our minimum at 4,000 gallons. I can buy that. The 8% would be $2.33 because you're gonna do it by the sewer as well. Mike?
Cause yeah, cause it's gonna,
If you do 8 on the water, you do 8 on the sewer. So they're each $1.33, that's 266. And then year 2 would be still 12, and then just leave it at 12.
no. I
Go
think
ahead
it,
across the
I
board
think
for
it
the
ought to be
5 years?
consistent across the board. That's my personal opinion.
You're thinking 8% for water and 8% for sewer?
Well, actually, I'm still thinking 4, but
What if you met at 6? That way you didn't have to change the second rate per thousand. Go 6 and 8.
Chris, can you plug in 6? Please.
that raises it $1, right?
Yep,
Is it six?
$2.
Well, $1 on
Yeah,
each.
that's right. So so you could. So you really just rose minimum,
And how many meters do we have?
4,984 for your water and 4,828 for your sewer.
so 8 times 2 would be $16,000
A month.
a month. There's your tires.
The thing is inflation's 8.3% now.
16.
And I was trying to get a little bit above that so we can remain solvent.
inflation is 8.3% now, but it's projected to severely decrease over the next year or two. So I think if we can get to something where we can get caught up, I think we would probably be okay in the next year or two.
Are you saying 12, doing 12 and then dropping everything down to 8 after that, or doing 8 and dropping everything down to 6 from there on out? Year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5?
I think we are, my personal opinion is I'd like us to see just, if we're gonna go 4, 6, or 8, that's just what we do.
Yeah, don't decrease.
Don't decrease or increase, you know, but we can always come back and look at it,
Yes.
right?
You're saying.
Now, don't we have to do this
do
by
6%
ordinance?
Across all
Yes.
5 years?
Okay,
You can
but
do
we
it by,
did.
So
you
every
do
year
it by
goes up 6%.
resolution,
Yeah.
because that's, that was
way
put
you don't
into
go
the,
6 and then you-
into the
Well, it
ordinance.
makes more
Yeah,
sense to
yeah,
do
yeah,
it by
yeah,
resolution
yeah.
so that we can, if we need to make
Yes, sir.
adjustments,
That's why
it's
it was,
simpler to do.
yes, that's why it was set that way.
Okay, my mind was set on 4, I can go 6.
I feel like 6 is very fair to our constituents.
Yeah, you know, 8.
So we're talking 6% increase per year for the next 5 years. Is that what we're talking?
But once again, Chris, I mean, we can always go back and relook it. Right? But this would be the resolution moving forward.
Well, can we go ahead and plug 6% into that spreadsheet for the next 5 years and see where we end up?
If we go from 6 to 8, I'm just saying the 8, it's only a 33-cent difference. And it gets us closer to the 12.
If they're gonna be mad about 6, they're gonna be mad about 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I think leaving number 10, it's easier to sell.
yeah, I think you're right. I'm okay with either one. I'll let,
Yeah, I don't like it.
So in 5 years, my bill would go up $6, basically. Not quite,
On the water
$5
side.
and some odd cents, $35.68. In 5 years, it's 6% across the board. Chris, plug in 8 across the board,
Sure.
please. Sorry,
What if we go 6 inside city limits and 8 outside city limits? Does that do us any good?
how many outside meters do we have?
We don't have.
Outside.
I think it'd be
Aren't they
insignificant,
annexed in?
Chris, just
We don't have that many outside.
Outside, even the annex part,
Yeah, we don't have that many.
you said red wine's not. in
It's gonna
water.
be,
so it goes up
just a rough estimate, less than 30.
Less than 30
$7.83 roughly.
over the
$7
5 years.
783
Over the 5 years, Mike.
over the 5 years.
times 2 because of the sewer. So for like $16.
$16 in 5 years.
That's in 5 years. 1566.
Totally.
Over $3.
put 8%, give me
Over $3
give me
a
a
year
cost of
average.
8% on that last commercial we did. What was it? Soapy Springs had 31,000 or 30?
Soapy Springs had 65,000.
65,000.
What's a water bill look like that at 8%?
65 to 36.
I said, hey, guys.
Times, what was it gonna be our commercial?
$3,900.
What?
Is it $39?
Okay, guys, I can buy 8.
Okay.
By 8, like I said,
Because it's only 33 cents and it gets us closer to the 12.
if we have to go.
We
up to
really
12,
need-
We don't make such a big jump
Yeah.
from 6 to 12.
From
then
6 to
you're
12.
double.
because then you're double.
There, 8.
Chris, yeah, I like 8. Chris, 8, 6.
Can we buy 8, Chris?
Mike's off.
You're muted, sir.
How many times have I heard that?
I'm trying. Sorry, I was clicking everywhere. Yeah, I'm good with 8.
Okay. I think we're good with 8. We can do a motion here in a minute, if that's the case. Do we, I guess, we're talking
So if
about,
we're gonna do 8, are we gonna leave the 4,000 gallon at 7?
Yeah, that's the other thing is, Do you
That's what I was
guys?
fixing to ask.
Okay,
What do we do down line?
I gave you what I feel is fair for water conservation efforts, but the decision is ultimately yours, so.
Plug in 10% at the next rate up.
Right here.
Yep. That's a 2% raise if you go over your minimum. It's not gonna raise it much, but it does look better. And then
Yeah, that raises it.
and then the next 1,000 is 11,000 to 31,000. Well, we just said that most businesses won't even qualify for that. Therefore, there's not very many homes that'll qualify in that. To raise it up to 35, so we probably can leave everything else the same.
What's the difference between a residential and a commercial? I mean, industrial and a commercial?
Industrials are your big water users and you only have 3 on it.
And they are who?
DFA is one of them. Do you know the other 2?
Cheese plant?
They-
Got the cheese plant?
Cheese plants in Clovis.
Peanut place, either one of the peanut places don't use that much water, do they? Really?
What about,
Well, Hampton, but they're still not, they're commercial, but they're not,
Commercial,
they're
yeah,
not. a
they're not
huge user.
industrial.
They're not a
Is
huge.
Privet one of them?
Privet.
Oh,
it's a good
Privet.
Call.
And Privet. But again, they're not a hide.
I don't even think DFA uses over 100,000.
Are we getting Privet, we get Privet's water back in the sewer, don't we? From Septus canister, yeah.
Am I missing, where are commercial rates on this sheet?
It's outside and it's in the back. Commercial, there's-
Residential, commercial's the same?
inside is the same
Okay.
and outside I gave you a proposal.
Yeah, I
For
see that one.
Commercial outside. Are we seeing commercial inside?
They're the same.
They're the
That's just
same.
what they answered. So I was looking at residential and commercial inside are the same. So it should have residential
does
slash.
commercial qualify as manufacturing too, or is that industrial?
It depends. I think it depends on
Well,
what
let's
they're
talk about
doing.
this cannabis place that's behind the News Tribune. Is that manufacturing or commercial?
Depends on what they apply for. If they apply for retail or if they apply for manufacturing, it depends.
But I mean, a grower would be manufacturing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
that's
Okay.
what-
I
Yes, it wouldn't be
apologize.
industrial, it'd be manufacturing.
Yeah, it'd still be all commercial. I think industrial is,
Commercial, so he's, let's say he uses 31,000 gallons, it's gonna be around
When we toured PVP,
35,000.
the question was asked, and I think Stuart's the one that asked it. How much, and it's 7 gallons per day per plant.
Depends
It
on
seemed
how many.
like a lot, but
Yeah, because if you
but
have,
that's what they said.
some
He's
of them are
reusing a
trying to
lot, too.
recapture it though, like Garden Source
Maybe
is gonna
that's what he
recapture
did.
theirs.
So
their
he's
water.
Using it. Remember he says we're using like 35% of it or something.
that's a lot
It's a
more.
lot of water out of the plant.
So in other words,
Yeah,
okay, let's
corn
look at what we've got up there right now. If I use 5,000 gallons, my bill's gonna go to $20.51. The way we're looking at this right now. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I use over 11,000, my bill is gonna go to 21.66.
No, hold on. Let's see.
Or that's per thousand though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but okay, so if I use 11,001, it would go to that.
Well,
I mean-
wouldn't you pay just the base rate and then everything over
Every
the 11,
1,000.
you would skip that 227.
No, it's consumptive. So it'd be base rate plus 1,000 plus 1,000 plus 1,000 until you reach
Oh.
how many you used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so if you used 11,000 gallons, you're gonna be paying the 250 for every 1,000 gallons in the 4,000 rate.
Over the 4.
And then when
Okay.
you reach the 11,001, it goes.
So you're
to
gonna pay 7,000, you're gonna pay what?
18, 19.
Yeah.
750, about $25, $26. I guess my feeling is when we get over that 4,000 mark, I mean, 4,000's enough for people who are low income and really sensitive to these bills. They can stay under the 4,000, I would think. And if they're going over the 4,000, that means they're watering their lawns and stuff like that, and that's a choice.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I like it where we've got it right now at 810. I like the 10 over the
7,
Over the 4.
yeah, I do too. I like that. I like that. But it looks good on paper. It makes sense.
How do you feel about the other three, the next three?
I'm fine with it because you're starting to get into people that's that's a lot of.
It's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. I mean, you're watering your lawn, and with the lawn that big, if you're watering it. I mean,
You need to
it is
pay
what
for
it
it.
is.
So let me ask you this question, okay? Insignificant partly to this. I have 2 meters. What happens to me? What happens to people that put in a meter just for their sprinkler system?
Well, how much do you think your sprinkler system uses? Surely it don't use maybe 1,000, 2,000 gallons.
The minimum?
So you'll pay just the minimum bill. On top of
But if
your,
you've got 2 meters, you're gonna stay on the lower rate because they're gonna charge it per meter, right?
Right, that's what I'm asking though.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
yep. We do it by meter. We don't do it by who owns the meters. So.
No, and that's the choice of the owner, the property owner.
well, actually, it's a
one or
good,
two
I think it's a good choice if you have a sprinkler system.
Yes,
Put your sprinkler on one meter. Mine was that way when I bought the house,
you
but
can control it that way too.
so
Yes.
kind of get hosed because I don't water in the wintertime, but I'll still pay a minimum.
Zero scape the whole front anyway, don't you?
Yeah, I zero scape the front.
We don't have no benefit for that.
Well,
We're always-
The only reason I bet I zero scaped the front is because I had Ryan come over and spray it and somebody sabotaged his tank and killed my yard. Seriously.
Well, we are working on a plan for zero scaping. It's just, I need to get all this in order and then we'll focus on that. I'll get with Chris and we'll focus on something for zero scaping incentives.
Any more changes you guys can see on this so far?
Well, obviously, are we gonna just update the outside city limits to the same as inside city limits?
Yeah, I think so. I
I
think
mean,
we
there's
go
not
with 8.
much.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's less than 30, so I think it's
Yeah.
fair.
I wish we didn't even have that category, really. You got 30 meters on there.
I mean, we could just combine it into one if you guys would prefer.
Well, if there's that many less than 30 meters on there, there's no reason to have 2 categories, but that's just whatever.
I can combine
Brings more
those.
confusion,
Yeah.
More questions.
Just like your commercial being combined with your residential. I'll just combine it.
Yeah.
When I
And
present it.
that's
at
okay,
council.
but we just need to have a say at the top.
Hey, and can you make these changes, get them back out to us before we put this on council?
Yes.
Just so we're looking at it. And
Oh, yeah.
Where the residential.
And so did I hear you guys say that commercial is the same rates as residential?
Commercial inside.
Change that head.
Yes, Chris, that's correct. Commercial inside city limits.
So. Have we thought about? On the commercial side, I mean, yeah, there's no reason for people who are residential using that much water to. Pay a premium if they're using, more than 30,000 gallons or something like that. But on the commercial side, have we thought about the pros and cons of, attracting new businesses that use water and the gross receipts and the jobs that creates versus, us basically making them go to Clovis because our water is so expensive?
Clovis doesn't care.
They don't. Their water, they're on co-op. Their co-op could go bankrupt and walk away, and what will Clovis do?
Well, what I'm saying is if I'm a business person and I'm going to be using 50,000 gallons of water per month, and I'm trying to decide whether to locate to Portales or locate to Clovis, and my water bill is going to be 3 times expensive in Portales versus Clovis, has the city really
I think we discussed that.
done
Chris.
a service by making commercial use that high?
I think that's why it's combined with residential and it's the same as residential, so it does encourage businesses to come here.
A few minutes ago, we were talking about the highest users that we got in Portales, which was the laundromats and the car washes. And we didn't get anybody over 32,000, right?
Soapy Springs is 65,000.
65,000 was the highest user that we came up with.
And in that aspect, you really don't want another car wash coming in because we
Yeah.
are in a water crisis.
I do.
I agree with that, but there was
Here-
that controversy about some of the growers that want to come in here, but they can't afford it because of the water rates.
Where is EPCOR on this list?
On the NMED list,
Yeah.
should be in the private in the back. Maybe I didn't give you the,
They're using.
it didn't all print.
7,000 gallons of plant.
EPCOR's on page 11, second line.
You don't live next to a river.
Yeah, their residential is double what ours is, Chris, with a $6,000 minimum. The commercial's 106. So we're cheaper there, even with these.
Well, but that's for 6,000. What's the math when they get up to 50,000 gallons?
I don't have that.
We
information.
don't have that. I mean, we don't have that available as to what it's gonna cost. But 6,000 here would cost them, under the new deal would cost them.
Yeah, but I'm not talking 6,000 gallons. I'm talking 50,000 gallons.
I don't know how the rates are broken up.
Yeah, I don't know how their rates are broken up from there.
Well, I can guarantee you if their minimum is that high.
It's
they're gonna
2302.
Start getting to 50,000.
And I don't know how they classify commercial either.
Well, if you take Roosevelt County Water Co-op, one of our employees has a bill from them, and for two of them, their bill's $62 for the water alone. That's it. No trash, no sewer, no nothing, just the water. $62, and that is just for two people. So I think we can't compare to the privatized water co-ops. It's high.
Well, I certainly understand where Chris is coming from, and I have the same concern. I also have the concern of, actually water conservation.
You have any growers in business that we know of yet?
Two,
Growers, marijuana growers?
two, right?
that
We're at
are-
two. And we have a third one that just came in.
A
That are-
way to get,
We have
What their use is.
four.
Chris, go ahead. Sorry.
have we thought about a way to get growers like that on our reuse system rather than the city?
It's the marijuana is for human consumption. We cannot put the reuse water on that. It's not cleared for human consumption.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, we'd have
Great
everything on
idea.
it.
Maybe that's something we need to look into.
We're probably not that far away from.
So
See,
if you-
here's the other thing, and I know I've mentioned this. I don't know why these guys doing dirt work can't hook up to one of our reuse waters and use that instead of fresh water.
The state doesn't allow for it because they can come in contact with it. The state has to approve for us to be able to, we're a little behind the times, like Phoenix has it to where they're using reuse for everything. But until our state clears it, we have to follow the rules and we can't allow.
I understand.
That's why, like,
You answered my question.
That's the same.
The car washes would be great for reuse, but it becomes in human contact, so we can't do that.
Well, how do they work when they recapture it? Like that new car wash on far north Prince? They recycle their water.
They probably have a reverse osmosis system that allows for that, but it's not wastewater that they're reusing. It's what they're washing their cars with now.
See, I'd
So
like-
you're telling me that we can water our lawns with the reuse water, but we can't use it for dirt work and construction?
Telling you,
That
you shouldn't go
is-
down to the
For the
sprinklers.
State, that's
That's a
right.
state regulation. Yes, I'm telling you that. Not make any sense to me.
Well, we do live in the land of entrapment. Um,
How do you want to do this, Mike? Do you like that? Do you like, this is a recommendation?
Well, I'm still thinking
Want to table it or?
down the road.
I like what we've got, but I would like to encourage the city to maybe run some numbers on what the effect this has on commercial operations and attracting commercial operations to the city. And if maybe we want to, on the commercial side for the larger water users, if we can do some research about, if we charge maybe a little bit less for those higher users in exchange for attracting new businesses.
But it's no good if we run out of water. It's the only problem that I have.
What?
Water
Quit talking
conservation,
about that.
right?
Because that kind of talk right there is discouraging everybody. I
Okay.
mean, I got stopped the other day and go, well, I guess I better move because we're running out of water. Because we're talking so negative.
But what, I'm just thinking in terms of what do we do if it does happen? So we encourage.
Well, you know what? We're all in the same boat if it does,
Okay.
right? But we gotta continue living and yeah, we gotta make wise choices, but let's quit being so negative about we're running out of water. Cause that right there tells people, I'm not going there. And I honestly have heard people saying, well, I better move because I keep hearing we're running out of water.
You know, if that's our biggest fear, then
Close
we
shop
need
right
to up, we need to up our reuse more than we are.
I totally agree. And that was gonna be my question. Where are we on reuse? I mean, how much are we?
You
I
know,
know
if,
as much as anticipated when we built this plant, but where are we with that?
We're fixing to put DFA on. DFA has to run the lines though, so that's gonna be a lengthy process to run all the piping to our meters. We are running the lines for the salt,
Where are we now?
as in how much we use
Or
or.
how much are we getting and how much are we?
Do you have any-
using? Because the last I knew, the only thing we were doing reuse was the cemetery.
So we're using it on the cemetery and some of the parks. And city parks not one because they have their own well. We're running the lines to the softball complex to use the reuse water there. And that's all I know of off the top of my head.
The other city parks aren't on reuse yet.
Are any of the city parks on reuse yet? Just the cemetery?
And none of the schools, didn't we run reuse to some of the schools?
Yes.
And nobody's using it.
We have the meters there in the line, are the.
Is it because we don't have enough reuse water right now?
No, they had, they didn't want to use it once it was put into place.
Once you start using the reuse water, you can never go back on to regular water.
Yeah,
And I think that's, people are
It's the
cautioned about
cost of
that.
separating the, you know, the portable side of like the parks.
Mhm.
Being able to know exactly where to separate them from whatever they're tied in. And then going and making sure that you aren't going to cross contaminate. So that's part of the issue on two of the major parks that we were looking to tie into.
Well, I think that's something we need to definitely investigate to make sure that that we can do the plumbing.
Right.
And cut off the
Right
fresh
now,
water.
Lindsay's probably the next one that's closest, and then that little Concord Park that's right off of Lime and K. And then we are currently trying to finish up the
See, and those are
softball
even,
complex.
those are even some things, yeah, and I can appreciate that. I think that's gonna get more use than Comfort Park is.
Right.
Which Comfort Park gets a lot more use than we think it does, that little. Part.
Yeah.
But that's something else we gotta look into in the near future, are all these parks we're trying to maintain. I'm sorry, that we don't have, the Cheese Park and Comfort Park and Lindsay and Rotary and City Park that are super nice and green, and always well groomed. I mean, hell, that takes, it takes water for one thing, it takes manpower for the other thing that we don't have as it is. The guys have to kick butt to come over here and get ready for like your Saturday function when we have those events. We have to send all hands on deck to the cemetery to get ready for Veterans Day or Memorial Day or any of those things. It's frustrating that we don't have the manpower for one thing, but then again, we don't have the reuse water that we put in years ago in our system that we're still paying millions of dollars for, and we're not getting the full use out of it.
Let the public look at it.
That's my speech.
Well, and what I would add to that is, it seems to me like the schools watering with that water was one of the main reasons why we put that reuse systems in. And if we have a separate water rate for them, then maybe we need to encourage them to rethink about reusing that water.
Agreed.
Here's what I would like to do. I would like you to show us a couple of different scenarios on down the line of those that might use 50,000. Okay, show us a couple of different scenarios. We can meet again soon, can't we?
I can do Friday afternoon.
I'm not gonna be here this Friday afternoon?
Yeah, so whatever.
I
you
just
guys-
have to play in the golf
Could-
tournament first.
Huh?
I just have to play in the Eastern tournament first.
Are you playing? in-
Yeah, that's gonna be hard, Mike. Homecoming's here Friday afternoon, so, but, I mean, if I have to, we can meet for an hour.
What days are better? I mean, you're the new chairman, but,
I can also set up a Zoom, so anybody who wants to do it remotely.
Tuesday, we could do it Tuesday. You like Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, it doesn't,
And then we have council that night.
well,
I don't think you're ready for it to be on council
I
yet.
don't think we're ready for it to be on council yet
So you're just
either.
gonna, well,
and I
if we're
think
just gonna meet, then
I think it's important too, that when we go to council, this is about how we're gonna sell it.
Yeah.
More so than, but can we meet again? Maybe what days are good for you?
any day is good except for Monday. If we can meet in the afternoon, that's easier for me. Cause I can just come home, but whatever, I mean, if we need to meet in the morning, that's great too. As long as it's before, maybe we just need to ask Linda, that way she can feel like she's part of it too. Cause I think the 8:30 for her is kind of hard. I know how it is to try to open a branch.
I leave town in the morning and I won't be back until late Tuesday afternoon.
Next week, will we have council Tuesday? So maybe Wednesday?
Give them a full week.
Wednesday
Get our
afternoon.
numbers. I like
Mhm.
Wednesday afternoon. What's afternoon to you?
The 5th.
What's good for you? Like cause that's your busy time.
Wednesday? No, next week, I'm leaving town Friday, so Wednesday I'll be all right. Anything after 1 o'clock, I'll be free. So you guys choose. the
Okay.
time.
You're the chair.
4. 3:30.
30 would be great. I love
3:30 is great.
3:30.
The next Wednesday at 3:30.
Wednesday at 3.
So,
I'll have to attend by Zoom.
okay, we'll make sure we get you an invite early.
And make sure that whatever you're gonna give us, you email him, please.
Yes,
Um,
3:30.
It's the 5th.
Yes.
The 5th?
So you want to see a different rate structure for anybody 50,000 gallons or over? Is that what you would like to see?
couple of different scenarios.
Yeah,
maybe.
I
just,
think we're-
it's not even rate structures.
And maybe,
We're talking about just commercial though, right, guys?
well, under this,
both.
under our new deal, inside the city, commercial and residential are the same on this rate structure.
So it would be across the board.
So, yeah,
And we don't have the ability to separate them.
We can. I can give you it separate if that's what you prefer.
I mean, I don't see any reason to give anybody residentially using that much water a discount.
Right.
So I'm gonna combine the residential inside outside and I'm gonna separate commercial for you guys. That's what you would like, right?
that's what Chris is asking.
Okay,
And especially down the road of, you know, 7,000 gallons and up, or 8,000 gallons and up, 10,000 gallons and up,
10,000 gallons, I think would be. fair.
10,000 gallons and up. And maybe show us what a bill would look like for one of those user. Who's our largest user?
That one was 61,000.
that was Soapy Springs, but I don't think they're the largest. I'll find out.
And maybe just run us scenarios on how their bill would look.
Yeah, through your system, can you do like mock bills?
I do believe, because that's how they train us, is doing test bills. So-
Okay,
So run us mock bills on, Happy Wash, Soapy Springs,
Cattle Baron.
Cattle Baron.
Do one on the doghouse if you want. That'd just be a basic commercial building with a nice.
I just think if we vet this as quick, at the best we can all the way through,
Shows we did our research.
yeah, we just doing our due diligence here,
Okay.
Absolutely.
okay?
We're gonna table that one. Cause it says action on
We're
it.
gonna postpone it.
Don't say table.
I know.
Don't say table. It
table
just stops
everything.
everything.
Table it right now.
We can do a temporary table.
We're gonna postpone it.
We're gonna
Postpone it.
postpone it till we
The
get,
legislature does temporary tables all the time.
Okay, we got the second one on this.
So then,
agenda.
okay, so we're done with this for now. I've lost my agenda. We're going to lead, copper.
Just so I'm clear though, on the base rate for residential, you guys are good with those. You just want me to combine inside outside. And we're
At
looking.
8%,
combine inside, outside, yes.
Yeah, 8%.
okay?
8% on the first tier and 10 on the second, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, and then we're gonna meet at 3:30 on October 5th, same place.
Same that time.
I'll try to
same
get
that
you guys
channel.
that way before then, so you have time to evaluate it.
So talk to us now about the revision to the lead and copper rule.
Okay, Chris, if you would mind pulling up the PowerPoint, please. You guys have in front of you the mini version of the PowerPoint. As you know, that there's another unfunded federal mandate for us to address the lead and copper that may or may not be in our area. Johnny Ledbetter is the one that presented the presentation I provided in your boxes, and this is just a little smaller of a breakdown. The first page kind of talks about the sources of lead in drinking water. The second slide talks about some of the mandates. EPA lead and copper compliance mandatory completion date will have to be by October 16th of 2024. Johnny Ledbetter has been able to establish 5,874 GIS points in the lead and copper database. These points represent homes, apartments, businesses, and schools, because we may be responsible for both private and our municipal lines. I know, I agree. October 3rd of 2022 will be the start in identifying the types of water lines, whether they're lead, galvanized, or unknown, at the water meter, at the city side, and then to the house, school, or apartment. The goal is for the city to identify 11 meters a day on average to meet the EPA deadline of October 16th of 2024. The city staff has been working diligently to keep ahead of this deadline and hope to have the water line identification completed within time to spare before the deadline. The second one shows you what we're going to be looking at as far as the service line to the house or business or school. Whether it's utility owned or privately owned, we will be responsible at this time. I'm hoping that changes, you know, how the federal government works.
Well, I mean, isn't that unconstitutional?
It's the EPA.
How can they expect us to go onto private property when we're not allowed to do that and any other time?
I mean, I can understand the thinking because they're thinking about, you know, all
Flint,
those.
Michigan?
Huh?
Flint, Michigan?
Yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but not, anyway.
I agree. I do agree. So materials need to be included in our inventory will need to be lead, galvanized, unknown, not lead. These are all pipes. If trigger replacements, only full replacements will count, and that will be from the main to the inside of the home with no lead remaining. We'll need to offer to replace the private side when replacing the utility side. And the customer will replace 45 days, will have 45 days to replace it to the utility side. There is grants out there. They're mostly for the homeowners to be reimbursed for that replacement.
Okay, but how do we educate homeowners that they got to do that? And what happens if it's our responsibility? Can we charge the homeowners?
I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna be, you know, taking that and having to change it out ourselves. I think we're gonna foot the bill for that. And as far as education goes, that's gonna be something that Johnny and everybody are gonna be working on because we also have to educate the public.
So what do you need from us right now?
This is just informational.
It did say action, so
Oh,
I
I
understand we put that in case we need to take action.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, that's a template. So on the back page, it talks about what we'll need, public notification. So we may be presenting stuff on our website to the community on our water bills, however we get the information out there. What we will need to come back to council is we will need 5 additional staff members to be doing these. We have to have these people focus on just that. We can't afford to send our water crew out there because we're just not big enough.
Maybe we should have talked about this before we talked about the water rates.
Yeah.
And of course, funding. I mean, this is gonna cost. So at this time, we don't know the cost or anything. This is just been thrown at us.
So we identify it all, then we won't know the cost, right? Okay.
But,
Mm.
and what would be the timeline?
We have until October 2024 to complete this.
So why couldn't we use some of that money that the government's sending us?
As in the FLS, the ARPA, I assume it's because we just were handed this and we didn't know about it until recently.
This looked good on paper for a lot of people, but now it's getting into action. It's a good idea.
Yeah, and they'll extend it. But
Yeah, that's what I was
you
saying.
know,
Yeah, I don't think they can expect, because we barely have 5,000 lines. Can you imagine like a city like Albuquerque having to do how many lines would they have? So I think that's an unreasonable deadline, but
Are the dates just to get them identified?
I believe the first half will be to identify them and the second half will be to replace them if we identify them. I don't think we have to do it coinciding with each other, but I'll check with Johnny on that because he's the one that's
So they don't want lead or they don't want, and they don't want copper.
no lead and copper, no
So it's all gonna be plastic.
PVC.
Well, I think right now, the movement's more for lead, the way I understand
Yeah.
it, not copper so far. they
Yeah, 'cause there's a
haven't-
lot of copper houses,
we can
interior
keep
wire.
copper, as far as I know right now.
Yeah.
Lead has to be removed.
Right.
And that's due to Flint, Michigan. I think they're trying to stay ahead of that.
The fear on the copper side is the way they fuse it, and that's with the solder.
Yeah, with
And
the
it
lead
gets
solder.
Old solder, yeah.
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 So that's the push on the copper side. But on a lot of with past testing, we don't come close to any of the action levels with copper houses, with copper lines. So
Think we're okay there.
I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm thinking that's gonna be our saving grace on that end. But on the lead service lines, again, even with that, thank goodness that we have groundwater, because we have scaling, the hardness of the water builds inside of that pipe. It, again, keeps us below the action levels that
Yeah,
Right.
that we have to meet for compliance from the AEPA. So,
Because are you saying the buildup in the pipe actually
Right.
protects
It's
us from
Yes.
the lead,
it helps.
the lead in the lead pipe?
It helps on the lead pipe, but it's murder on your hot water heaters, but
Right.
yes, because you're thinking about
right.
it. Yeah, I mean, he's right. I mean, the East Coast, they're full of lead and copper. That's all they built with. Fortunately, this side of the country, we weren't as big on building stuff with that. So we might not have a lot to replace, but we do have to still locate all of them. And that's where we need the additional 5 staff members to do.
So with those 5 staff members, what do they have to, what criteria do they have to meet? Is that something that we can source out through ITS Quest
Yes.
or?
Oh, yeah.
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 We could do the training as far as running the equipment. That's why we have the hydro excavator. It's very quote unquote simple to run. They would get the training from our guys who have got the training from the manufacturers, but it's pretty easy what we're expecting.
What they're gonna
Not
need.
gonna be hitting a bunch of pipe.
They don't have to be certified operators. They
No.
don't have to get extra. I would be overqualified by a lot for that job, but just to make sure, I could just.
How far up the line or can they tell at the meter if
At
it's
the
a
meter,
lead pipe?
we can do
At the meter.
most of them, yeah, at the meter themselves.
Yeah, so at the meter, you can tell if it's a lead pipe going into the house.
Yep, and the only positive thing I was, is we do have these 5 people, we might be able to retain them for other openings in the city.
So a lot of it you can eliminate, like new construction, you pretty much,
Correct.
like, I would say like Oaklawn addition, all that, and even Ravenswood or any of those. Combs houses, those
think after a
houses
certain
out
year,
there
right?
on.
Yeah, after a
Uh,
certain year,
do you feel?
1986, I think was the
Got
cutoff
flooding in it.
year. So
Okay.
that's.
It had to have-
Kid, I don't even taste the shit.
Yeah.
We figured that out.
Yeah.
Good,
And that's-
discussion only.
Yep,
Anything
that's-
else?
No,
Any other business?
thank you for your time.
Thanks. We're adjourned.